In this video, we're talking about literacy and overcoming obstacles. Our past doesn't determine our future. I had trouble reading, and now I'm a published author. Why, hello there. My name is TJ Shimeld. I am the co-founder and president of the Vanishing Wheelchair. Find us at vanishingwheelchair.org. Today, to share with you a little bit about my background in learning how to read. As a child, I was always very good at academics. I ended up graduating number 9 in my high school class, went on to college, went on to graduate school. I always prided myself on my, intelligence and just being able to do well in school, do well on tests and all of that. And when I was younger in elementary school, and I don't often talk about this, and it's almost like I've put it in the back of my memory, that I had a great difficult time learning how to read. And it was something that was a little embarrassing for me at the time. I had done great in all my classes, except for reading, and I was taken out to a special group that would work on reading, and we read, very short type books like Dick and Jane type things. And it was, to me, always an embarrassment to be separated out from the rest of the people in my class. And this was, I believe, like in 2nd or 3rd grade, and I was doing so poorly that they had recommended that I go to summer school. There I was sort of discovered by the head of the program. Her name was Dr. Brown, and she really helped me learn to see why I was having such difficulty reading. She watched me and saw how I read, that I would often get stuck on words I didn't know. And instead of just going on, I would freeze and stop and just not continue. And she taught me that it was okay if I didn't know a particular word. I could look it up later or something, but to skip that word and see if I could continue on. And to me, being, the little perfectionist I was, I thought that was cheating. That, well, if I didn't know it, then I shouldn't go on. And she would quiz me on, well, can you still read the sentence and figure out the meaning of what they meant in the sentence, even if I didn't know what that one word didn't mean? And most of the time I could. And so that helped me continue on. And the more she worked with me, she found I was having difficulty actually seeing the words. That I was wonderful when she'd give me a poem. And poems are often written, in the middle of the book. And I could read that perfectly. And yet when I was reading, a regular book, it kind of looked like, as she described it with the words, it kind of looked like to me that the page was bent like this. So it would kind of, I could read the words in the middle, but in my eyes, I was losing the words at the end. And she realized what the issue was, just diagnosing me from how I was reading, was that I had astigmatism, that I needed glasses. And that was always something in elementary school when I was young. They used to, the nurse would test us, our eyesight, and we used to, and I hated it, because they would take me out of the class. I was always so nervous because I didn't see too well, but I saw well enough that it didn't flag anything for them at the school. And there was I always remember the color, we used to look into this thing, and there were these bunch of color dots, and so they'd see if we can see the letter, amongst the colors, or if there was any color blindness. And I remember hating they used to have these like E's in which way the E was facing, and telling them that, and it'd get smaller and smaller, and I just always hated that because I didn't like to fail. I didn't like to fail. I always had to be good at everything. And so for me, failing at reading was very difficult. And having to go to summer school was even more difficult. And this teacher saw in me something that no other person, even the nurse testing my eyes, saw, that I had astigmatism, that my eyes, instead of being round, were like squished and like ovals. So I wasn't able to see the text correctly. And my stopping myself too, and again, that fear of failure, that I couldn't read the word because I didn't know the meaning. And so she taught me how to overcome that. We did go to the eye doctor. I did get glasses. And I remember driving home that first day, sitting in the back car as my parents are driving, and looking out at the trees. And I was amazed that the trees I could see each individual leaf on the tree. And to me, growing up, I couldn't see that well. So the trees looked like, like a little kid's tree that would have the bump and color in green. That's what trees looked like. I could see the outline, and I could kind of see, I knew there were leaves, but I couldn't see them. And I tell you this story because now I am a published author. I've written 6 books. I've had articles that have been published on magic and magic history. And, that to me, as I got older in middle school, I won Young Author Awards. In high school, I had a poem published. And then my first book actually came out while I was still in college, Walter B. Gibson and The Shadow. And of course, my latest, or I shouldn't say latest, because there's been one other book after this, is The 4-Foot Giant and the Vanishing Wheelchair, which started the whole nonprofit, The Vanishing Wheelchair. And I realized that in discussing this and talking about it, that our past doesn't determine our future. I had trouble reading, and now I'm a published author. And I also edited for a magic magazine, The Linking Ring. And that embarrassment as a child, I could have given up. And I sort of did. I felt bad about myself, but there was this wonderful teacher, Dr. Brown, who was able to look at it from a different perspective and to be able to show me that I could, that I was able to read and to write when I thought I couldn't, and I felt bad about myself. And so I wanted to record this to share that story, because what our past is doesn't determine our future. We can follow our bliss and follow our passion. And despite what others tell us, because sometimes it's just a switch of perspective to get us through. Please join us on this journey. Subscribe to this channel, vanishingwheelchair.org. Visit us online, like us, and share this with others. We'll see you next time.